episode 3 of Dak Talk Sports, the place to be to get caught up on all weekly sports news from WWE to the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, college football, and even Dallas-Fort Worth area sports teams. Well, I would say we have a lot, which we will always have pretty much a lot, no matter what sport we're predominantly talking about. But compared to the last 2 episodes, I have about 2.5 less pages than last time's for an outline. So I'm pretty sure this will be a shorter episode, but I cannot guarantee it because I always end up rambling on about stuff that I don't have to ramble on about. But first things first, WWE is the topic of discussion. Not a whole lot of news outside the ring in terms of all these different sources and rumors and all these different potential things. But we're just going to go ahead and get straight into it with the weekly show recap where we just simply go through, talk about everything that just happened from this week from Monday Night Raw, Tuesday Night NXT, and Friday Night SmackDown. Maybe give our thoughts and what we kind of thought about it. And just simply just like talking about stuff, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, Monday Night Raw, we had 3 Elimination Chamber qualifying matches as the almighty Bobby Lashley defeated Big Bronson Reed, and L.A. Knight, defeated Ivar for both of them to qualify for the men's Elimination Chamber match next Saturday in Perth, Australia. Then Liv Morgan ended up defeating Zoe Stark to qualify for the 3rd spot in the women's chamber match to join Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. The team of main event Jey Uso and the New Day defeated Imperium, and it's definitely a momentum booster for Jey as he goes into next week facing the ring general, the Intercontinental Champion, Mr. Gunther, for the Intercontinental Championship. As last week, he did end up challenging him for it. He got attacked, but he got saved by the New Day. Next thing you know, this past week, they had a 6-man tag match. Uso and New Day pick up the win. Now, Uso's got some momentum going to the Intercontinental Championship match, even though I simply don't see Uso getting the title or Gunther dropping the title, especially on a weekly show, instead of a big-time premium live event. And the reason I say this is because this summer they're going to have a premium live event in, I believe, Germany. Oh, yeah. It's going to be called Bash in Berlin, or Bash at Berlin, or however it's said. And that's about the time I can see him either retaining his title or just something big, either involving him keeping the Intercontinental title by then, or, I don't know, he might drop it by, before then, maybe, I don't know, Backlash, WrestleMania, some point, and then he'll go on to get the world title at Bash in Berlin. But I don't know. I can't guarantee that. One thing that I did point out and something that I noticed is the interaction between Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins, as it was made clear from Seth Rollins that Cody does have help with the battle against the bloodline of The Rock, Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, and he also said that he's going to be Cody's quote-unquote shield. So a question that comes to mind is, what does this mean? It means that we could see a tag team match at WrestleMania for night 1. We could see a whole multitude of different scenarios. We could simply see just about anything we can imagine, but what we do know for sure is that Cody Rhodes has an ally in Seth Rollins to help him fend off the bloodline to finish his story. But going into that, it has been made known that Grayson Waller, the man from Down Under, will be hosting Grayson Waller Effect at Elimination Chamber, Perth, Australia, with special guest Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins, which is rumored to be an announcement for a tag team match between those two, taking on The Rock and Roman for night 1 of WrestleMania. But then again, who knows? Can't guarantee that. Moving on, NXT was definitely a night to definitely tune into, as we had a lot of kind of settling the score type matches, as we had Brindley Reese taking on Kiana James after a weird interaction involving coffee, and Kiana James ended up defeating Brendan Reese. Ridge Holland has been wanting to face all three members of Gallows the past few weeks, and he got his wish in the form of a gauntlet match. He did, I believe, ended up winning the match via disqualification, and he ended up surviving the gauntlet as he basically ended up starting to get attacked by all three members at once. But fortunately for him, he ended up surviving with a steel chair, and he kind of seemed like he had a face of regret of his actions, even though he did survive a 3-on-1 attack from the member from Gallus. The NXT North American Champion, Obafemi, called out Lexis King for his actions and simply just has been calling him out the past couple of weeks, especially with his approach and his threats to simply take on Obafemi. But that's another thing to talk about for itself for another day. Carmelo Hayes got his a victory over Joe Gacy after last week. He ended up, for some reason, attacking Joe Gacy, and it set up a match where Carmelo Hayes did pick up the victory. However, I believe post-match, Dijak made it very clear that he's still not done with Joe Gacy, as last week, Joe Gacy cost Dijak a match to pick up a win over the NXT champion, Ilya Dragunov. And I guess you can say the Dijak and Joe Gacy saga is still on. It might be up for another couple weeks. We might even see a NXT Stand and Deliver match, but it's something I cannot guarantee. Representing Metaphor, Noam Dar and Aura Mensa took on the team of Von Wagner and his manager, Mr. Robert Stone. As Mr. Robert Stone was in WWE formerly for being a wrestler in ring action, mainly in NXT, but then he ended up taking a different approach, became a manager, and has rarely wrestled since. And since his transformation to become the manager for Von Wagner and just simply taking a managerial role in general. This is probably his second match in NXT the past couple months, so definitely a big change because I remember he came over from TNA as Robbie E, and he was, I guess, just like Jey Uso is now, how he was known for being a tag team wrestler. He was known for being a tag team wrestler. I'm pretty sure tag team champion at 1.2. Then he came over to NXT, and then it just didn't turn out the way he wanted. It's just been a weird transition and a weird, I guess, life in terms of a WWE run for Mr. Stone. Tatum Paxley cost Lola Vice an opportunity to pick up the win over who was it? Tatum Paxley ended up costing Lola Vice an opportunity to get some payback, or just simply getting a win over Roxanne Perez last week, but with Paxley costing Vice a chance at some momentum and a win over the Prodigy. It ended up being a match this past week where Lola Vice picked up the win over Tatum Paxley after, I believe it was a victory via submission. And it has definitely been an interesting scenario involved with the whole look at Tatum Paxley and Valkyria picture. As originally it was Paxley getting involved, being seemingly creepy like a stalker. It's like, Lyra was like, I don't want you in my life. Tired of this. Get out of here. Sometimes you can help, sometimes you don't. I don't really want you in my life. Then it brought up a weird angle in terms of the NXT Women's title match, where it definitely got heated up for a rivalry between Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria. And it seemed like Paxley should be out of the picture for Valkyria, but for some reason, Valkyria showed up for Paxley's match. After she was just laying out cold after the match, she ended up carrying her to the back after that, so it's been very interesting, to say the least. Former NXT star Shotzi made her unexpected return to NXT on Tuesday and challenged Valkyria for an NXT title match. While Paxley was just laying there, seemingly out cold, even though she pretty much heard everything that was going on for some reason. And Shotzi challenged her for the title match, got her wish, but unfortunately she did sustain an injury, so that will not be taking place. Either there's not going to be an NXT women's title match, or there will be a title match, but it won't be Shotzi. But that's going to be for a different part in terms of SmackDown, so we're not going to get into that right now. SmackDown, we had the contract signings, well, the attempted contract signings of both Jade Cargill and Braun Breaker on SmackDown, which I thought was interesting how Jade Cargill, since coming over to WWE, has only had one match, and that's her appearance in the Royal Rumble, has been trying to sign with SmackDown for weeks, has not done so, and it's like, what's the point of her being on the roster if she hasn't competed in another match, and she has yet to fully sign with the main roster brand? And Braun Breaker signing a contract was kind of weird to me because I thought, oh, wait, I'm moving straight to SmackDown. I forgot to finish out NXT. My bad. But saying my bad, it was a bad night for the family as Adriana Rizzo did take the loss against OTM's Jada Parker. And later that night, it spelled trouble and it added on to it as the family lost their NXT Tag Team titles. Tony D'Angelo and Channing Sachs Lorenzo took the loss as the Wolf Dogs, Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin are they're the new NXT Tag Team Champions. So hats off and congratulations to Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. But speaking of Corbin, he was for the past week or two he was planning to sign with SmackDown. Then he was planning to potentially sign with Raw. Now this week he has officially signed to SmackDown as a main roster superstar. But it's kind of a questionable decision how you build it up to him being a main roster superstar and getting the call up. Okay, that's great. He's going to get the call up to the main roster, and I'm happy for that. Happy for him. But then him officially signing a contract for SmackDown this Friday didn't make sense in my opinion because I thought, what's the point of him being the NXT Tag Team Champion if he's going to be a SmackDown competitor? So now he's going to be a main roster superstar competing on NXT. But, I don't know. Their booking recently has been kind of goofy, if I'm being honest. And some little things going on from SmackDown. AOP, Alexa Payne, finally had their first match back since returning not too long ago as a part of the Final Testament. And simply demolished some NXT talent for their first squash match, which is no surprise. A question that I can think of loud and clear is, has the OC officially imploded? The reason I say it is because AJ Styles has simply kicked himself out of the OC, out of the group. And Carl Anderson ended up confronting him, one of the Good Brothers. And that ended up not being so kind of an interaction as AJ Styles went on to slap Carl Anderson, frustrating him and leading to probably the end of an era in terms of AJ Styles being the leader of the OC. Damage Control rivalry between Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Asuka, Kairi Sane, and Bayley. The whole saga, all 5 members has been just crazy as obviously it imploded not too long ago, I believe 2 weeks ago, as Bayley sets her sights for a match against Io Sky at WrestleMania. It's the end of the 5-group team tandem for Damage Control, as seems that Damage Control is just now the women's tag team champions, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, led by the women's champion Io Sky. And what's interesting is how now it's really kicking up for a rivalry as this group not only sets their sights on Bayley, they're now setting their sights on Dakota Kai as she betrayed the team as she ended up fending off the group for Bayley with the steel chair, even though it did seem like Dakota Kai was going to attack Bayley. Dakota Kai was asking for some help, apologizing, and it got to a point in the conversation with Bayley that she just said, I don't know who I can trust anymore. Moving on, elimination chamber qualifying matches, we actually had 4 of them. Oh, and something interesting to mention. Tiffany Stratton, who was originally set to take on, I believe, Naomi? Hold on, I need to double check my matches before I say the Raw match, who were the previous matches. But last week it was announced that the originally scheduled qualifying matches were going to be Shotzi taking on Tiffany Stratton and Naomi taking on Zelina Vega. However, that was changed due to Shotzi's injury, and she was replaced by Alba Fire, as it was switched around for Tiffany Stratton to take on Zelina Vega, who ended up where she did pick up the victory, as Stratton, thanks to a little bit of, assistance or somewhat of a distraction from Legado del Fantasma and the LWO feud going on, she ended up hitting the Prius moonsault and picking up the victory to qualify for the Elimination Chamber match. And the second and fifth spot was given to Naomi as she picked up a victory over Alba Fire, even with a little bit of distraction from her partner, Elia Dawn. And for the fifth spot, for the men's Elimination Chamber match, Kevin Owens picked up a victory over Dirty Dominic Mysterio with a little bit of help from R-Truth. That was definitely something else, as Kevin Owens and R-Truth have been going back into a little friendship the past few weeks, at least the past week or two. It's been interesting to watch, nonetheless. And Dirty Dom was saying, "Oh, R-Truth, you're in Judgment Day. Help me get this chair." Then R-Truth grabbed a chair. It was like this. He grabbed a chair, took it, set it down, sat, and cost Dom the title match. Even with all the smack that Dom was talking to, where he said he was going to win the Elimination Chamber match, qualifying match, everything, and beat Seth Rollins. Which, you've been getting better at being a singles competitor, but you just kind of suck on your own a lot of times. But that doesn't matter, as Kevin Owens will be the fifth competitor in the match, joining the likes of LA Knight, Drew McIntyre. Who else was it? Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, and LA Knight. And for the final spot for the men's Elimination Chamber match, Logan Paul, the Maverick, and the United States Champion, got a victory over a longtime rival, former friend, The Miz, to obtain the final spot in the men's Elimination Chamber match, where the field is now set. For the women's match, there is one final spot remaining, and that women's spot will be earned through a last chance battle royale next week on SmackDown. And before we get into the match card, we can say that The Rock has officially, quote, officially joined the Bloodline. And my thing is, thoughts, questions, concerns? It's like, yeah, I kind of saw this coming. I didn't see it coming, but it does make sense in terms of the storyline and how it, I guess you could say, started from the WrestleMania press conference in Las Vegas not too long ago. So it's kind of built up to there. And at the end of the show, he put up his ones. He was like, I guess you can say it is official that he's now a part of Judgment Day, the Bloodline. And speaking of Elimination Chamber, we have only apparently 4 matches on tap, as we have the Judgment Day. Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Damian Priest putting their undisputed WWE Tag Team titles on the line against the number 1 contender who earned their spot through multiple matches, and that's a team of Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, British Strong Style. But no, they're not the British Strong Style anymore. They are New Catch Republic, which is an interesting name change for them. And you have the women's Elimination Chamber match between Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, and Naomi, and the Battle Royale winner determined next week. Then we have the hometown hero, the hometown champion, Mommy Rhea Ripley, putting her Women's World Championship on the line against Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's putting her Women's World Championship on the line against Nia Jax after a past couple of weeks of a heated rivalry, and simply Nia Jax making herself look absolutely unstoppable, and Rhea Ripley looking kind of weak. But yeah, so basically whoever wins that match will be the Women's World Champion walking into WrestleMania, and the winner of the Women's Elimination Chamber match will face that champion. And then the final match is the men's Elimination Chamber match between Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, and Kevin Owens and Logan Paul for a World Heavyweight Championship match against Seth freaking Rollins at WrestleMania 40. And if I haven't mentioned already, during the February 14th episode of The Bump, Saturday, SmackDown and Australian wrestler Grayson Waller announced that he would be hosting a special edition of his talk show, The Grayson Waller Effect, at Elimination Chamber with special guests from Raw, the 2023 and 2024 Royal Rumble winner, Cody Rhodes, and World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Now, with that being said, we're going to move on to the final segment for WWE as the question that comes to mind is, could we see a return to the ring for the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin? As Stone Cold said, never say never to WWE return, as Steve Austin was working on a project recently that required him to look back at his huge return match with Kevin Owens at WrestleMania 38 2 years ago, which is crazy. He said he couldn't discuss what that project was, but go over the tape of that bout, his first in 19 years, was illuminating. As he said in an ESPN in a recent ESPN interview, quote, "I dissected what I did, and I know that I can improve on what I did." So he said, it basically means, does that mean we could see another match from one of the most iconic performers in the history of professional wrestling? It's something that Austin would not rule out. As he said, "I said I'd never get in a ring again unless all the stars aligned. And for some reason, somehow they all did. At the age of 57, I headlined the first night of WrestleMania. I never thought I'd do that. If you have told me that when I retired in 2003, I'd have said, you're crazy. So I'm not going to sit here and say no to anything, because you never say never in this crazy business of sports entertainment. However, it does not appear Austin, now 59 years, will perform at WrestleMania 4 this year, but his greatest rival, The Rock, will be in action. For those fans yearning for Stone Cold, the biggest event of the year, there are options. As it just goes on to discuss all the matches that you could just walk through in terms of the showcase of Immortals for WWE 2K24's new game mode to play through a lot of iconic WrestleMania matches, as well as his iconic match with Bret the Hitman Hart, WrestleMania 13 in 1997. And when he was asked whether he had an idea of what opponent he would want in that, what would like to be his final career match, Austin said he did. But he did not want to mention the name because he was not promoting the match, nor did he want that pressure on WWE or the foe to make it happen. As he did say, a potential matchup with CM Punk would be a good one. As he said, I like Punk, and I think Punk likes me. So, as long as he can take a Stone Cold Stunner, I'll just say with a laugh, I consider him a great friend, a great guy, and a great wrestler who's had a great career. We'll see. That doesn't mean Austin, a Hall of Famer and a 6-time champion, will come back and have another match, but it doesn't mean he won't either. He ended it by saying, but it's not going to happen. But it could. Moving on from that, we're going to go ahead and go through seemingly quite a bit for college football, as we're going to go to kick it off real with a banger for college football, as college football, EA Sports finally gave us an NCAA 25 reveal trailer. Let's go! They updated their Twitter. They updated just about everything. Gave us a trailer. I was so happy. I saw pictures and glimpses of the game and what it could look like, as it is still in development. But the screenshots and everything they shared looked amazing. And, yeah, that's all I got to say about it. It was amazing. And the full reveal is set to be coming in May of this summer. So, yeah, be on the lookout for a lot of updates, news, and rumors for the new NCAA Football 25 video game from EA Sports. The Texas Longhorns Athletic Director Chris Del Conte confirms SEC is working on a 9-game schedule. According to reporting from Inside Texas, Del Conte hinted that the issue isn't so much whether the SEC will move to 9 games, but when. He said, quote, "We have 8 games scheduled right now. We're working on going to a 9-game schedule, but we have a ways to go with that. I would say this year we have an 8-game schedule. The following year we have another 8-game schedule. Then we'll look at going into a 9-game conference schedule. That would be consistent with how the SEC has handled scheduling during previous rounds of alignment. As back in 2012, when the league added Missouri and Texas A&M, the SEC used 2 years of temporary scheduling to work on and tinker with the more permanent scheduling rotation. There are many parties involved, and making everyone happy is almost impossible. Well, with this being said, it's going to be interesting to see how a 9-game schedule for the Southeastern Conference in college football will hopefully work out. The Pac-12 and its commissioner George Kalavkov agrees to part ways, as according to the Athletics' Nicole Auerbach, the Pac-12 Board of Directors announced Friday that Kalavkov and the conference mutually agreed to part ways. With the Pac-12 struggling to find a significant media rights deal, USC and UCLA were the first schools to announce they were leaving, opting to make the move to the Big Ten. Later, Oregon and Washington opted to join the Big Ten as well, while Colorado, Arizona State, and Utah all chose to make the move to the Big 12. Finally, longtime rivals Cal and Stanford announced a move to the ACC, leaving Oregon State and Washington as only remaining Pac-12 or Pac-2 member schools. Since the new alignment will be in place for the 2024 college football season, Oregon State and Washington State reached a scheduling agreement with the Mountain West Conference. While Oregon State and Washington State won't be official members of the Mountain West, won't be eligible to win the conference 2024, the in-conference portion of their schedules will be against Mountain West Conference teams. After nearly 3 years in this role, his last official day will be on the job will be February 29th. I guess you can say this is the end of an era for the Pac-12 as we know it's in college football, and just simply in college sports in general. Which is pretty sad because, unfortunately, when it comes to conference realignment, that simply just means that whenever one school makes the jump or makes the transition to realign from one conference to the next, like Texas made the transition from the Big 12 to the SEC, that just simply means that not just the football or just the baseball program changes. That means all athletic programs change from the regional conference to the next conference, which is very, very interesting. So, moving on. The college football playoff will be staying as the home of ESPN will stay as the home of the college football playoff. As the college football playoff and ESPN agreed to a 6-year, $7.8 billion contract extension. According to The Athletic, the sports company and this college football playoff are in agreement on a 6-year, $7.8 billion extension to keep this college football playoff on the network through 2031 and 2032. The Athletic added that the agreement is contingent on CFP leaders finalizing details of the expanded format in the wake of the implosion of the Pac-12. Washington State and Oregon State are the only remaining teams in the Pac-12 entering the 2024 season. It's funny how I start out a sentence and then next thing I know, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I gotta go back. And I basically have like a weird start to it each time. And for our final segment for college football, UCLA found their new head coach in Deshaun Foster, with the former head coach Chip Kelly making his exit for a offensive coordinator job with Ohio State. The former Bruins running back agreed to a contract with the team to become their new head coach. Foster, who also served as the team's running backs coach between 2017 and 2023, will take over for the departing Chip Kelly, who's reportedly off to Ohio State to serve as Ryan Day's offensive coordinator. The 44-year-old spent 4 seasons at UCLA as a running back from 1998 to 2001, accumulating 3,049 rushing yards, 57 catches for 535 yards, and 43 total touchdowns. Following his playing career, he returned to UCLA as a student assistant back in 2013 and graduate assistant from 2014 to 2015 before heading to Texas Tech for 1 season as their running backs coach in 2016. He then returned to UCLA to coach running backs, and now he'll look to build on the progress Kelly established as UCLA has posted 3 straight winning seasons and went 8-5 in 2023. The athletic director of UCLA, Martin Jarman, said in a statement, "We are looking for a coach with integrity, energy, and passion. Someone who's a great teacher, who develops young men, is a great recruiter, and fully embraces the NIL landscape to help our student athletes." And then in a statement, Foster went on to say, "This is a dream come true. I always envisioned being a Bruin ever since I was young, and now being the head coach of my alma mater is such a surreal feeling. I'm grateful for this opportunity. The foundation of this program will be built on discipline, respect, and enthusiasm. These are phenomenal young men, and I'm excited to hit the ground running. Now, a question that comes to mind, thoughts of this hiring? Well, I don't really have much to say because I don't really know much about Deshaun Foster and just a lot as much as I should in college football. But it's definitely a good hiring, especially when you have someone who played for your school coming back to be your team's head coach. And just simply having a player that your players want to play for rather than someone who your players could want to play for, then they just straight up leave. So, very, very interesting. We have a little bit of NHL news. We have a suspension and 2 injuries across the league. As before I truly get into this, I had to look this up as what we're going to talk about originally. First, with the suspension, is Toronto Maple Leafs defenseman Morgan Rielly has been suspended for 5 games for cross-checking Senators Ridley Greig. I don't know how to pronounce that. Hold on. I'm trying to... How would I pronounce that? Greig. But anyways, while I let the video try to figure itself out, the Maple Leafs will be without one of their top defensemen for the next several games, as the veteran received a 5-game suspension for cross-checking Greig in the head in Saturday's 5-3 loss to Ottawa. ESPN's Kevin Weeks first reported the suspension. With just seconds remaining in Saturday's game between the Maple Leafs and Senators, Greig buried an empty netter with a slap shot to put Ottawa up 5-3. Rielly appeared to take exception and cross-checked Greig. I'm just going to say Greg. I don't know why I'm saying Greig. In the head. Typically with empty net goals, players push the puck into the net or fire in a quick wrist shot to not distract their opponent. Greig's slap shot was a rare moment, especially with it coming so close to the blue paint, so the blue line, before pitching going off sides. But yeah, this is definitely going to be something interesting to see. Hold on. Well, not going to fully get a clip of what I want to see, but interesting. Slap shot doesn't make sense. Oh, come on, man. I don't know why you're pushing them. Jeez. Oh. That's not a good look for them. He literally looked like he shoved him in a way that he punched him in the face. Golly, man. Can't be doing that. Now, I don't know if he deserves a full-on 5-game suspension. But then again, dude, come on. I don't know why you're doing a slap shot. But honestly, I want to say Greg should have saw this coming, because doing that is not very common to do, especially when you know you're already going to win. But at the same time, a 5-game suspension, though, unless there was blood everywhere or something, then I could see it being a 5-game suspension. A suspension, I guess, preferably maybe a fine instead. Either a fine or much shorter, probably 2-game suspension would have been better. But I don't know how the world works, and I don't know how NHL works in terms of all this kind of stuff, so I'm just going to leave it at that. For the injury report, Pittsburgh Penguins' Jake Gunzel is set to miss up to 4 weeks due to injury, an upper body injury. The Penguins placed Gunzel on the IR for Thursday night's game at Chicago with an upper body injury. Gunzel, whose 52 points are tied with captain Sidney Crosby for the team lead, will miss up to 4 weeks, as he did not play the final 10 minutes of a 5-2 loss in Florida on Wednesday night. Head coach Mike Sullivan said afterward that Gunzel was being evaluated. A question that comes to mind: what's a setback for Pittsburgh? The team entered Thursday riding a 3-game losing streak, while falling off the pace in the race for one of the wildcard spots in the Eastern Conference. They were already playing without injured forwards Noel Asieri, Jansen Harkins, and Matt Nieto, who are all on the IR. Pittsburgh recalled forwards Jonathan Gruden, Vinny Hinostroza, and Valtteri Puustinen, sorry if I butchered all those, from their AHL affiliate in Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, to fill in these positions. New York Rangers' Blake Wheeler is set to miss the remainder of the season, as Wheeler went down in pain and his right leg bent at an unnatural angle 11 minutes into New York's win over Montreal on Thursday. night. He was unable to put weight on the leg and needed help getting off the ice. It's unlikely that he will be able to return in the playoffs, which begin April 22nd. April 22nd? That's crazy. But the Rangers are not ruling out that possibility, depending on Williams' recovery and how far they advance. Last possible day for him to come back is for the Stanley Cup Final, which is on June 24th. Wheeler was placed on the IR on Friday. 37-year-old has 21 points, 54 games in his first season with a team after being bought out of his previous contract last summer by Winnipeg. I just realized something before I get into my last part. I just missed over college football. Well, I talked about college football and NHL, but I didn't have it on a thing of the topic of discussion. Bruh. I apologize for that. I wish I paid attention to that. But that doesn't really matter, and I don't think I really care too much if I change it in time and pay attention to that. So, just going to go ahead and move on. As final bit of news, as Chicago Blackhawks rookie star Connor Bedard made his return back to the ice versus the Penguins on Thursday after jaw injury. So, congratulations. Good job, Connor. Very proud of you, buddy. But honestly, I want to see this Blake Wheeler injury. The thing I'm noticing about today's episode is that I'm on a better pace and simply doing a lot better in terms of efficiency compared to my last few videos. Looking over the play right now. Oh, whoa. I missed it. Oh, yeah, I got hit and then he fell. Then all of a sudden, I guess he just couldn't. And that kind of sucks, especially in hockey, because I know hockey is a very tough sport. Because it's a fast-paced, hard-hitting sport. It's like, obviously, it's like, oh, there's basketball, there's that kind of stuff, but the real hard-hitting like sports are most definitely hockey and football. You got pads, you got everything you can wish for, but contact, a lot of contact. Anyways, with that being said, we're gonna move on from the NHL to the NFL news. So we have quite a bit of news, and before I go into NFL, I'm gonna go ahead and just do a quick UFL news, as the only thing that I've really heard besides the spring kickoff happening about this time next month is the United Football League is to debut a new official game ball before spring league. As I did see some pictures and I thought it was pretty cool. So that's the only thing to mention for the UFL. As for the NFL, we have quite a bit to talk about, but more of post-Super Bowl news. As the Chiefs, who survived a 10-point comeback, just like the last time they faced the 49ers in the Super Bowl, came back and won in overtime by field goal with a score of 25-22, with the unlikely savior, or Mr. Walkoff, going by the name of Mecole Hardman Jr. for the Chiefs. As the Chiefs became the first team to repeat Super Bowl victory since the Patriots back in the early 2000s, about Super Bowl 38-39 when they had Tom Brady. And to no one's surprise, the MVP was Patrick Mahomes, who got to go to Disney World. Well, Disneyland, because they were in Las Vegas and the closest Disney park was in California. So, continuing for the Chiefs, Chris Jones, despite his rumors to hit free agency this offseason, he plans to stay with the Chiefs. Despite facing constant double teams, and he still tallied 30 tackles. 13 tackles for loss, 10.5 sacks, and 4 passes defended this past season. After posting 44 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 15.5 sacks, 4 passes defended, and 2 forced fumbles, one recovery for the 2022 season's Super Bowl champions. But I should have said what I'm about to say next before, but that's okay. While Jones will turn 30 years old this offseason, he is still playing at an incredibly high level and will surely want to be paid accordingly. Chiefs star defensive lineman is scheduled for free agency this season, but he made his intentions clear during Wednesday's celebratory parade for Sunday's Super Bowl victory. As to mention, the Wednesday's celebratory parade kind of had an interesting turn of events with the shooting involving a lot of injured people, and two casualties. So definitely not something I'm going to talk about or get into discussion, but it's something I can briefly just mention in terms of that Super Bowl victory parade. But anyways, Christian Jones made his intentions very clear, as he said, quote, "I need 3 of these rings, baby," he yelled to the crowd. "We ain't done yet. We ain't done yet. Kansas City, we will be back here next year. For those who want Chris Jones, I ain't going nowhere, baby." Honestly, I don't know how he said it, but it's just how I'm going to assume he said it. So, Travis Kelce and his bump with Andy Reid early on in the Super Bowl was definitely a topic of discussion. Not just from the game, but this past week, how he ended up saying it was basically unacceptable on his behalf, as emotions were definitely high in that situation. It's something you don't want to see a lot of athletes do, or you don't simply see athletes do in today's world of sports. So, yeah, I'm glad that he just was accountable for himself in terms of like, oh, I did this, but it was kind of like a heat of the moment type of play, and I let my emotions get the best of me and moved on with life. I don't know exactly that's how he felt, but that's what I'm going to go assume that he felt and move on. As from there, the only 49ers news is the fallout from the San Francisco 49ers overtime loss to Kansas City. Super Bowl 58 officially began on Wednesday as Steve Wilks, the 49ers defensive coordinator, was fired. As per NFL Network's Ian Report, 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan said during a conference call that he has fired defensive coordinator Steve Wilks. The decision to fire Wilks comes just one day after Shanahan declared to reporters, "I expect all our coaches to be back." So basically, it's just, what's the point of saying they're all going to be back if you're going to say that? So it is basically a way of saying it's making Wilks a scapegoat for San Francisco's disappointing Super Bowl loss, being a curious decision, especially considering how well the team's defense played for most of the game. The 49ers held the Chiefs at 3 points in the first half, and Kansas City's lone touchdown regulation came after a muffed punt deep in San Francisco territory. The defense was also dealing with the loss of star linebacker Drake Greenlaw, who tore his Achilles midway through the game, which was basically trying to get on the field for whatever reason. But unfortunately, the wheels fell off for the Niners in the second half when they allowed Chiefs star Patrick Mahomes lead the team down the field at the end of regulation to set up a game-tying field goal that forced overtime. After San Fran ended its opening drive in the extra period with a field goal, Mahomes and company marched down the field once again to score the game-winning touchdown. The Niners' defense ranked 3rd in the league this season with 17.5 points per game. That number ended up skyrocketing and ballooning to 25.7 points out of 3 postseason games. Wilks is a respected defensive-minded coach who has previous head coaching experience, so should have the chance to land on another staff if he chooses to continue coaching in 2024. And speaking of that overtime thing involving them getting a field goal, there were rumors circulating and a lot of talks about apparently that the 49ers didn't know the overtime rules had changed for the postseason where each team gets a possession. But now I'm just hearing all the both sides of the story where apparently they did know these and just simply didn't practice it, or they didn't know it and didn't practice it. Either way, they just didn't truly practice it, so that's on their own. That's on their their own fault per se. And up next we have Jimmy Garoppolo making the news, making the headlines as it looks like his time with the Las Vegas Raiders are coming to an end, as he and the Raiders are expected to part ways after his PED suspension. As the team is expected to release the veteran quarterback before the 5th day of the new league year in mid-March, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. He would earn an $11.25 million bonus if he were to still be on the roster at that point. This news comes after Schefter reporting on Friday that the NFL is suspending Garoppolo for 2 games for violating the league's performance-enhancing substance policy when he used a prescribed medication without having a valid therapeutic use exemption. Garoppolo is not expected to appeal the decision and will miss the first 2 games of the 24 season. And interesting enough for him, with him being gone and having Ed O'Connell basically being the starting quarterback for now, it is going to be, we can definitely say for sure that the Raiders are going to be aggressive in looking for a replacement and looking for a new starting quarterback for the upcoming season. As apparently, they had their eyes set and have their targets set on the draft to pick up a quarterback in the form of Heisman winner LSU's Jaden Daniels. So, speaking of Jaden Daniels in the NFL Combine, NFL Draft, what do you want to say? We officially have the full list of NFL prospects that have been invited to the 2024 NFL Combine. Now it goes by position, and we're going to go kind of just skim through these as quickly as possible because there's a lot of players and a lot of positions to cover. So we're going to make this quick, as it will take a little bit of time, but I don't want to waste too much time talking about these guys. For quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels, LSU, Sam Hartman, Notre Dame, Devin Leary, Kentucky, Drake May, North Carolina, J.J. McCarthy, Michigan, Joe Milton III, Tennessee, Bo Nix, Oregon, Michael Penix Jr., Washington, Michael Pratt, Tulane, Spencer Rattler, South Carolina, Austin Reed, Western Kentucky, Keaton Slovis, BYU, Jordan Travis, Florida State, Caleb Williams, USC. Running backs, Rasheen Ali, Marshall, Rylan Allen, Wisconsin, Amani Bailey, TCU, Trey Benson, Florida State, Jonathan Brooks, Texas, Blake Corum, Michigan, Isaiah Davis, South Dakota State, Ray Davis, Kentucky, Dejon Edwards, Georgia, Audric Esteve, Notre Dame, Frank Gore Jr., Southern Mississippi, Isaac Guerrero, Louisville, George or Jorge Olani, Boise State, Bucky Irving, Oregon, Dylan Johnson, Washington, Jawar Jordan, Louisville, Dylan Laub, LeBay, New Hampshire, Marshawn Lloyd, USC, Jace McClellan, Alabama, Kendall Milton, Georgia, Keelan Robinson, Texas, Cody Schrader, Missouri, Will Shipley, Clemson, Jaden Sheridan, Monmouth, Tyrone Tracy Jr., Purdue, Kamani Vidal, Troy, Michael Wiley, Arizona, Ryan Williams, Ohio State, Jalen Wright, Tennessee. Wide receivers, Javon Baker, UCF, Jermaine Burton, Alabama, Jalen Coker, Holy Cross, Keon Coleman, Florida State, Micah Corley, Western Kentucky, Jacob Cowing, Arizona, Ryan Flournoy, Southeast Missouri State, Troy Franklin, Oregon, Anthony Gold, Oregon State, Lydiatric Griffin, Mississippi State, Marvin Harrison Jr., Ohio State, Jaquan Jackson, Tulane, Cornelius Johnson, Michigan, Xavier Leggett, South Carolina, Luke McCaffrey, Rice, Ladd McConkey, Georgia, Jalen McMillan, Washington, Bub Means, Pittsburgh, Adonai Mitchell, Texas, Malik Neighbors, LSU, Romeo Dunze, Washington, Ricky Pearsall, Florida, Jalen Polk, Washington, Brendan Rice, USC, Tavon Robinson, Kentucky, Marcus Rosemy Jackson, Georgia, Anais Smith, Texas A&M, Brian Thomas Jr., LSU, Jamari Thrash, Louisville, Devon Villay, Utah, Devontae Walker, North Carolina, Malik Washington, Virginia, Taj Washington, USC, Xavier Weaver, Colorado, Jordan Whittington, Texas, Isaiah Williams, Illinois, Johnny Wilson, Florida State, Roman Wilson, Michigan, and Xavier Worthy, Texas. I've already said all the main offensive position players, so I'm going to go through the first 5 for the remaining positions because it's already a bunch of names, and I'm already getting tired of just listing names. I feel like I'm at a graduation all over again. For tight ends, Eric All, Iowa. A.J. Marner, Michigan. Jaheim Bell, Florida State. Brock Bowers of Georgia and Devin Culp of Washington. For offensive line, Isaiah Adams, Illinois. Joe Alt, Notre Dame. Cooper Bibe, Kansas State. Olu Moya Fashanu, I think I butchered that pretty badly, so apologies. Penn State. Troy Fatunu from Washington. There's a lot more. Oh, and Zach Zinter from Michigan. Can't forget that guy. Defensive line. Austin Booker, Kansas. There was a Texas. Oh, Byron Murphy II, Texas. Solomon Byrd, USC. Dwayne Carter, Duke. Nelson Caesar, Houston. Miles Cole, Texas Tech. Jaden Crumedy, Mississippi State. Devondre Sweat, Texas was the one I was thinking of. And Mickey Wingo, LSU. For linebackers, Adrian Cooper from Texas A&M. Michael Barrett, Michigan. JT Bertrand, Notre Dame. Chris Braswell, Alabama. Still Chambers, Ohio State. Gabriel Murphy, UCLA. Kurt Jacobs, Penn State. And Dallas Turner, Alabama. Defensive backs. Kerry Jackson, Oregon. DJ James, Auburn. Chris Abrams Drain, Missouri. Dejon Anthony, Mississippi. Ron Arnold, Alabama. Cole Bishop, Utah. Bo Braid, Maryland. Javon Bullard, Georgia. Kalen Bullock, USC. There was Kool-Aid McKinstry, Alabama. And Tyler Newman, Minnesota. The thing I noticed is that I was reading it and I was like, oh right, I just realized that it goes by last name. I'm just not realizing it. The kickers and punters. There's only 3 punters, 3 kickers. So Joshua Carty, Stanford. Kicker, Stanford. Cam Little, kicker, Arkansas. Harrison Mevis, kicker, Missouri. So the figure kicker. Ryan Rakow, punter, BYU. Will Reichard, kicker, Alabama. Torrey Taylor, punter, Iowa. That being said, that will conclude our segment for the NFL. As we're going to go ahead and get to some NBA news. As we don't have a lot of NBA news, but NBA All-Star Weekend is officially here. As last night, as of this recording, Friday night, we had the NBA All-Star Celebrity Game and the NBA Rising Stars Challenge. The Celebrity Game was Team Shannon taking on Team Stephen A. As Team Shannon ended up defeating Team Stephen A. The score of 100 to 91. For Team Shannon, the coaches are Shannon Sharp and 50 Cent, or Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. The members include Anuel AA, Kai Cenat, Connor Daly, Walker Hayes, Quincy Isaiah, Joel Lloyd, Puka Nacua, Micah Parsons, Billy Singh, Sir, and Dylan Wayne. For Team Stephen A, the coaches are Lil Wayne, Stephen A. Smith, and Asia Wilson. Members of the team, Kwame Onwachi, Middle World Peace, Jack Ryan, C.J. Stroud, Gianmarco Tamburi, Adam Blackstone, Natasha Cloud, Mr. Walkoff, Nicole Hardman Jr., Jennifer Hudson, Tristan Jazz, and A.J. McLean. And this year for the All-Star Weekend, there's a new LED innovative court which carried an endless amount of animation capabilities throughout the game, such as a dynamic three-point line, court graphics, and much more, as we got the return of fan favorite Ruffles 4-point line ridge line, Ruffles Crunch Time, the debut of the Ruffles Flamin' Hot Challenge, a 1-minute relay-style shooting contest. And for this game, MVP, to apparently no one's surprise, was Mr. Micah Parsons, as he had a 37-point, 16-rebound game to lead the team to a victory, which is Very interesting to say the least, but great for him. The NBA Rising Stars Game Challenge concluded last night as Team Jalen knocked off Team Deadlift to claim the 2024 Panini Rising Stars trophy, as the Pacers' Benedict Thurin took home MVP honors as Team Jalen defeats Team Deadlift in the championship game. As for the teams consisted of Team Pow, with Victor Wembanyama from the Spurs, Charlotte Hornets Brandon Miller, Brandon Podziemski of the Golden State Warriors, Yami Jaquez Jr., Jabari Smith from the Rockets, Jaquez from the Heat, Cason Wallace from the OKC Thunder, and Bilal Coulibaly from the Wizards, all of which are rookies except for Jabari Smith Jr. Team Jamaica consisted of sophomores Paolo Banchero of the Magic, Jaden Ivey of the Pistons, Jalen Duren of the Pistons, Keegan Murray of the Kings, Dyson Daniels of the Pelicans, Vince Williams Jr. of the Grizzlies, and rookies Scoot Henderson of the Blazers and Keontae George of the Jazz. Team Jalen consisted of Chet Holmgren of the Thunder, who's considered a rookie even though it's his sophomore season, Jalen Williams of the Thunder, Benedict Mathurin of the Pacers, Shadon Sharp of the Blazers, who was replaced by Jeremy Sochan of the Spurs due to injury, Mavericks rookie Derek Lively II, yes sir. Pelicans rookie Jordan Hawkins and Walker Kessler of the Utah Jazz. So, from that alone, you can say that Derek Lively's team got the victory for the Rising Stars Challenge, and I could not be happier for them. Woo! Go Derek Lively! It's the only reason I'm happy, because his team won. But Team Deadlift consisted of G League stars of Aizen Almansa of the G League's Ignite, Monty Bates from the Cleveland Charge, Taz Buzzleys of the G League Ignite, Ron Holland of the G League Ignite as well, who was injured and did not play, but was replaced by Monty Bates. Mac McClung of the Australia Magic and also current defending NBA dunk champion. Tyler Smith of the G League's Ignite, and Oscar Shibaway of the Indiana Mad Ants, and Alondes Williams of the Sioux Falls Skyforce. But yeah, that'll do it for some of the things that did already happen this weekend on Friday night. Moving on to Saturday night and Sunday night, for the things that have yet to happen, is just simply the festivities in the All-Star game, as we have the 3-point and dunk contest, as well as the skills competition. First of all, we have the skills challenge between Team Pacers, Team Top Picks, and Team All-Stars. Seeing all the competitors of this team, I don't know who I would want to pick, because a lot of great competitors, but my pick for this is the Team Top Picks of Paolo Banchero, Anthony Edwards, and Victor Wembanyama. Mainly because Anthony Edwards and Paolo Banchero have been going off this year. Mainly Anthony Edwards, so. Let's go Anthony Edwards for Team Topics of Skills Challenge. 3-point contest has a lot of players from Malik Beasley of the Milwaukee Bucks, Jalen Brunson of the New York Knicks, Terry Halliburton of the Pacers, defending champion on the Milwaukee Bucks, Damian Lillard, Lauri Markkanen of the Utah Jazz, Donovan Mitchell of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Karl Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks. Honestly, I don't know how I could see winning this, but if we're going by efficiency and simply how well they perform this season, I don't know, but I'm kind of looking at the odds to kind of help me. But I would say the person who has the highest 3-point percentage on the season and how efficiently they can make a 3-point shot, but I didn't really look into that. And I could go for former Dallas Mavericks player Jalen Brunson, but my pick to win will be a player from the hometown team of hosting this year's event. The Pacers guard Tyrese Halliburton will be my pick for the 3-point contest. As for Steph versus Sabrina, I'm picking Steph Curry all day. And the final thing from from Saturday night's events, the dunk contest between Jaylen Brown and the Celtics, Manny Jaquez Jr. of the Miami Heat, Mac McClung of Osaka Magic, who's the defending champion, and Jacob Toppin, brother of Obi Toppin, on the New York Knicks. Honestly, I don't know who I'm going to pick, but I'm just going to go ahead and just stick with the safe choice and take Mac McClung, the defending champion, this matchup. Obviously, I might only get one correct prediction, but it's better to get one than none. So, yeah. Moving on to our one of our final parts, the All-Star Game, is Sunday night's game between the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference All-Stars. This year, they finally moved back to the format of Western Conference versus Eastern Conference instead of having two captains pick their teams. As it's a stacked Western Conference as you have for starters: Kevin Durant, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Luka Doncic. Now on the Eastern Conference side, you have Captain Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, and Joel Embiid. But unfortunately for them, Joel Embiid will not be playing due to his injury. But seeing how stacked their team is compared to the other side of the ball for the East, if you look at points per game, so I'm just going by top to bottom. So you got 30, 35. So you got 31, 35, 22. Well, I'm not going to include Joel Embiid in this, but I'll include him, but not too much. But 31, 35, 22, 24 and a half, and 27. Then you look at East. 34, 20, 34, 28, 31, 27, and 26. So just by the points per game alone, you can tell that the Western Conference is going to win, could win, and also going by, points per game for the bench. Just look at the bench. Holy crap. This will definitely be an interesting game to watch, but my pick, especially with how stacked the Western Conference is, and with Luka Doncic being on the Western Conference All-Star team, I'm picking the Western Conference in this matchup. I don't know what the score will be because I think they're going to do like a target score type of thing this year again, so it is what it is. To move on to two of our final pieces of NBA news, Klay Thompson got benched for the first time in his career since his rookie season by Steve Kerr on Thursday night against the Utah Jazz. As for the first time in his career since his rookie season back in the 2011-12 season, the Warriors guard played in a game that he did not start, as he made 699 starts over 10 seasons with the Warriors since that season. Brandon Podziemski, the rookie that we mentioned earlier, took the place of Thompson, who is not listed on the team's injury report. Thompson said that coming off the bench helped them put up 17 points in the first half of Thursday night's game, per ESPN's Kendra Andrews. And the final thing will be the injury report, as Josh Richardson and Terry Rozier both headlined the Heat's injury report. Terry Rozier suffered an injury when he landed awkwardly during a drive in the third quarter of Sunday's game against the Boston Celtics. According to Shams Charania of the Athletic and Stadium, an MRI revealed Rozier suffered a sprained right knee and, quote, avoided any major injury. The plan is for him to be evaluated on a week-to-week basis, but he should return this season for Miami. As for Josh Richardson, the same exact matchup on Sunday versus the Boston Celtics, he suffered the injury during Sunday's loss to the Boston Celtics, leaving the game in the second quarter after a collision on the court. According to Shams Charania of the Athletic and Stadium again, the Heat guard reportedly has a dislocated right shoulder and is expected to be re-evaluated in just a few weeks. That being said, we're going to go ahead and now move on from the NBA to MLB news. As kicking it right off, Jenny Kavnar, play-by-play announcer, is making history, but it is for Oakland Athletics, as NBC Sports California announced Tuesday that Jenny Kavnar will be the first the lead play-by-play announcer for their broadcasts of the Oakland Athletic games, starting with the 2024 season. She becomes the first woman to handle full-time play-by-play duties in the MLB. Jorge Soler is heading to play in the Bay for the San Francisco Giants. The veteran slugger and the Giants agreed to a 3-year, $42 million contract, as Soler had become a free agent after he declined the $9 million player option on his contract, which carried $4 million in incentives for the 2024 season after spending the last 2 years with the Miami Marlins. The franchise also chose not to extend him a qualifying offer, leaving him free to test the open market, ultimately land with the Giants. The 31-year-old was selected to the All-Star game for the first time in his 10-year career as a National League's designated hitter. He finished the season with a slash line of 250 batting average, .341 on base percentage, and a .51 slugging percentage. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got that right, but yeah, a .250 batting average, .341 on base percentage, and a .512 slugging percentage. Might be wrong, but please don't quote me on that, so I apologize. As well as 36 home runs and 75 RBIs across 138 games. It was the second most homers and RBIs in a single season in his career. Thoughts on this? It's definitely an interesting move, and I'm glad to see that the Giants are finally making some more moves to add to their roster, especially with how depleted it already is. Final news for the MLB. As the players in the MLB Players Association address the complaints with Nike and Fanatics jerseys for the 2024 season. With players reporting to spring training bringing a sense of optimism for the upcoming season, excitement for the warm weather around the corner, this year has brought about complaints about the latest and not so greatest jerseys for the MLB. As the Athletic's Stephen J. Nesbitt reported that Nike and Fanatics are quote, facing blowback from big leaguers and baseball fans alike regarding the jerseys the former engineered and designed and the latter manufactured. It has reached a point that the MLB Players Association is now involved after players complained to the union. The topic took off with the Cardinals as pitcher Miles McCullough said the jerseys don't fit right, and another player said, quote, they look cheap, per Jeff Jones of the Belleville News-Democratic. Jones pointed out players in general are pretty unhappy with the changes. I'd be unhappy with them too because I saw the jerseys in a comparison, and holy crap. For one, instead of having just the names normally, where it's like it seems like it go just straight across, and maybe have a slight curve depending on the length and font of the team of the player's name, it is now having weird curves because I saw a picture of the back of Justin Verlander's jersey, and instead of it just saying Verlander with maybe a slight dip, slight curve, it's like this. It's not like this would probably be about it, but now it's like, and it made me think about how someone said, imagine Jared Saltalamacchia having a jersey like that. Oh, it wouldn't be like this. It would be, let's go. But yeah, sucks for them, especially since I did see a picture where last season the team patches and stuff on the jersey were very authentic. Definitely stitched into the jerseys, and it looked cool, very real, very real, authentic compared, just like what the players would wear. But now it's just a simple, instead of it being stitched all over for actual the entire stitching of a logo, it's just a printed out logo, and it's just slap it on there. And it's like, dude, you put no effort into it anymore? That sucks, especially for fans wanting a real replica jersey. So that sucks. But now we're gonna go ahead and get to our final segment of today's episode, as we have some DFW sports news. Nothing too crazy, nothing over the top too much, as baseball is officially back and is being played this season for the Rangers, as baseball is back, as Rangers players reported for spring training, more specifically pitchers and catchers alike, this week, which means baseball is happening this month. Ladies and gentlemen, the defending champions have reported to spring training and surprise Arizona. Sorry, I just felt the need to do that. Only thing to be aware of is third baseman Josh Young is set to undergo an MRI after experiencing left calf discomfort while fielding ground balls. Young, who turned 26 on Monday, is coming off a breakout season as he hit 266 batting average with 23 homers and 70 RBIs, making the All-Star team as a rookie and helping Texas win their first franchise World Series. The only question to consider is, what does this mean for the team going forward? It's like, depending on the outcome, what could it mean moving forward? If he's going to be out for some time, what does that mean? If he's going to be just fine and just kind of like a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, what does that mean? So, that's really all we got in terms of Rangers news, as we also don't have a lot to talk about for the Mavericks. And if there was some news to talk about, I probably didn't look too much into it. As we had two Mavericks players competing this weekend. One already competed last night, and that's rookie center or rookie big man, Mr. Derek Lively. Their player competing is five-time All-Star, Mr. Magic himself, number 77 from Slovenia of the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic. As since our last episode, the Mavericks are once again 3-0. 3-0 on a 3-game homestand since the trade deadline, as they competed against the teams of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Washington Wizards, and the San Antonio Spurs. Their next game to mention is Thursday, February 22nd against the Phoenix Suns. So, by this time next week, they'll have played their first game since All-Star break. As going to the All-Star break, they defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder, where both sides were fully healthy, had all players, and the Oklahoma City Thunder have no excuse of getting whooped by the Mavericks with Holmgren and Giddey and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all their best players playing. As on Saturday, February 10th, they got whooped 146-111 in the AAC. Then on Monday, February 12th, they were in a bit of a predicament where it seemed as though they were potentially going to lose. Where it's like, what are y'all doing? Y'all are losing to the Washington Wizards, who are up by 8, or up by a small margin. They blew that lead, and next thing you know, they ended up just whooping them. They ended up coming back from a deficit, whooped them 2 by 8, 112-104. On Wednesday, Valentine's Day, February 14th, they will Victor Wembanyama and the sucky San Antonio Spurs with a score of 116-93. Whoop, whoop. Moving on, as before we get into our final segment of the Cowboys news, which is just one thing, we got some Dallas Stars news. As Dallas Stars forward, Evgeny Dodonov has been sidelined indefinitely with a lower body fracture, which was announced by head coach Pete DeBoer on Tuesday. Very, very sad, and I'm sad to hear that. When I heard it and saw it, I was like, no! Why is Dodonov got to be injured around this point, even though the Stars are doing well at this point in the season? Because honestly, I'm sad. So, best of luck and best wishes to Dodonov in his recovery from his injury. As Dodonov logged just about 8.5 minutes of ice time in the Stars' 3-2 win against the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday. Last Saturday? Yeah. As he had an X-ray in Montreal and it didn't show anything. Pete DeBoer said. As he also said, he came back home and it wasn't getting any better, so he had more detailed pictures taken. So he's out for a while here. There's a fracture. We're making decisions now on whether screws have to be put in, things like that. But it's not good news. The 34-year-old has recorded 23 points, 12 goals, 11 assists in 50 games this season after signing a 2-year, $4.5 million extension in this summer. The extension came on the heels of Dodonov collecting 10 points, 4 goals, 6 assists, and a +5 rating in 16 playoff games for Dallas. And speaking of games, The Stars share the same record since the last episode with the Mavericks at 3-0 as of today. They are 34. They have 34 wins, 14 losses, and 6 overtime losses, which is second in the Western Conference and first in the Central Division, which is great to see for the Dallas Stars, baby! But anyways, on Saturday, February 10th, they went on the road to beat the Montreal Canadiens with a score of 3-2. They came back home for a home game against the Carolina Hurricanes on Tuesday, February 13th. And, oh wait, that's not the right score. I was about to say the score, and I realized 3-2 is not the score that took place. So give me a moment as I try to remember the score from that game. Oh, as they beat the Hurricanes with a not so different score of 4-2 at home. Then on the road on Thursday, February 15th, they beat Nashville. They better known as Smashville, and smashed them with a score of 9-2. It was close to the end of the first period when I was watching the game, and there was I think 4 minutes left in the first period, where the Stars had already taken almost 15, 20 shots, 4 goals scored already, and next thing I know, I look deeper into it, and the Predators only scored 1 goal. I'm like, how do you only score 1 goal in the span of take 1 shot? Only had 1 shot for a majority of that first period. I'm like, I don't know how you only have 1 shot. Doesn't make sense. But the question that is to remain: who contributed to this amazing smashing blowout? Well, you can thank Sam Steele, who opened up the game with the game's first goal unassisted, giving his 7th game of the season. Matt Duchene scored 2 goals, his 20th and 21st of the season. Wyatt Johnston, the rookie, I believe sophomore now, scored 2 goals, his 16th and 17th of the season, and recorded his 19th and 20th assist of the season. Ty Dellandrea scored a goal, 2nd of the season, 2 assists, 4th and 5th of the season. Craig Smith got in on the action with a goal, 7th of the season. Mario Heiskanen got his 6th goal of the season, and Tyler Seguin got his 20th goal on the season on a power play, and his 24th and 25th assist on the season. And the next game is today. By the time of recording this, the game will most definitely be in action. So, yeah, because this game is set against the Edmonton Oilers on the road. Oh, at home at 2 o'clock on ABC. And for the Cowboys, only thing we got to really talk about is it is official. Mike Zimmer is now the new Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator, and as a replacement for Dan Quinn's departure. It's great. Glad to see that we've finally got some official news and confirmation that we now have a new defensive coordinator. So, curious to see how this will play out with having Mike Zimmer leading the defense for the upcoming 2024-25 season and the upcoming NFL draft and free agency. Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude today's episode. A lot shorter than usual, which I'm kind of proud of because it seems unnecessary to talk about sports by myself with no other opinion for 2 hours straight. So, yeah, it feels great to talk about all of this and all that I can in terms of sports. So, that being said, I hope you all enjoyed. To those watching or listening online, hope you enjoyed it. And without any of you guys, none of this, or simply none of these opportunities to talk about sports would be possible. So thank you for tuning in. Consider subscribing, following, doing whatever you want. Maybe consider, on YouTube, consider dropping some comments down below of what you want to talk about next, what you want to hear about, what you want to see from the channel. And yeah, that's really about it. As for me, I am Dak. Thank you for tuning in to Dak Talk Sports here, live on whatever you're listening to. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. And as for next time, I'm Dak. Remember to be like Dak, stay awesome, and stay hydrated. Jesus loves you as well. Adios, amigos! I'm terrible at outros. Woo!